The Health Secretary accuses Doctors' Union of taking a militant stance ahead of Tuesday's strike. Patients are being warned to expect significant disruption this week. Doctors say it's the government who won't negotiate.
We've still yet to have anything from Mr. Barclay. We've offered him dates to talk and he's refused all of them. So I have to put the blame squarely at the feet of Mr. Barclay for this.
Also tonight, a family's goodbye. Emotional scenes at the funeral of the British-Israeli sisters killed in the West Bank. Vaping crackdown, a new task force to stop the explosion of sales to children. And a late Liverpool goal dents Arsenal's Premier League title hopes.
This is ITV News with Romilly Weeks.
Good evening. Ahead of what's likely to be the most damaging strike in months of disruption in the health service, relations between the government and unions have reached a new low. The Health Secretary accusing junior doctors today of timing their latest walkout after the Easter period to cause maximum disruption. Up to 250,000 operations and appointments are expected to be cancelled during the action in England that begins on Tuesday. The union, for their part, says the government is yet to make a serious offer on pay. From Westminster, Tom Sheldrick reports.
Overwork! Underpaid! Overwork! Underpaid!
For the second time in a month, thousands of junior doctors in England are set to walk out in their dispute over pay.
It's not our pay, it's not too late!
This latest strike action coming straight after Easter when many NHS staff are on leave, meaning there's little cover available.
There's no doubt it's going to be a very challenging week for the NHS. We are ensuring that over the days of industrial action, we're prioritising emergency care, maternity care, critical care, but there will undoubtedly be an impact on routine care.
The walkout is due to run from 7 o'clock on Tuesday morning until 7 o'clock on Saturday. Last time, over 3 days, 175,000 appointments and operations were cancelled. This time, over 4 days, the NHS is warning it could be up to 250,000 cancellations. And there appears to be little prospect of fresh negotiations taking place here at the Department of Health anytime soon. Writing in the Telegraph today, the Health Secretary, Steve Barclay, has accused the Junior Doctors Trade Union of taking a militant stance in this dispute. He said it is deeply disappointing that the British Medical Association have timed this industrial action to cause maximum disruption to both patients and other NHS staff. But the BMA say this was the first week they could strike, having not received a new pay offer from the government. Coming straight after the Easter bank holiday weekend, do you recognise this will cause even more disruption?
So strike action is in by nature designed to cause disruption because it's to put pressure on the government to do the right thing and come to the negotiating table. We had processes set up for our 72-hour strike in March about how to do it safely, and that was through communications with high senior officials within the BMA and NHS England, and those processes will continue for our 96-hour strike.
The BMA are demanding a 35% pay rise to make up for real terms pay cuts in recent years. The Health Secretary has dismissed that as unrealistic. There's been progress in several other industrial disputes, but in this one, the opposing sides still seem a long way apart. There was a big breakthrough last month when the government agreed a pay deal with unions representing many other NHS workers. But the next few days will be a reminder that this period of industrial unrest is not over. And it's not just the health service, but schools too, due to face more disruption. The National Education Union have already announced further strike dates. The NASUWT now say they'll ballot their members over whether to follow suit. And they've warned that they could coordinate walkouts with other unions. They say that would likely cause schools to close across the board.
Tom in Westminster, thank you. The devastated family of the British-Israeli sisters shot dead in the West Bank have attended their joint funeral. Rina and Maya D, aged just 15 and 20, were killed on their way to a family holiday. Today, their father, Rabbi Leo D, paid tribute to his beautiful, smart, popular girls. Their mother, Leah, remains in a coma and hasn't yet been told of their deaths. The attack came amid swelling Israeli-Palestinian tensions, as Ellie Pitt reports.
Amidst the singing came the sound of grief at the funeral of two sisters. Relatives and friends gathered near Bethlehem to bury the British-Israeli girls who were shot dead on Friday. Maya and Rina D were just 20 and 15 years old. They'd moved from London to an Israeli settlement on the West Bank. But today, a family of 5 said goodbye to 2 of their own, and a father told tales of his daughters.
My beautiful, perfect Maya. We named you God's water, and you were so many people's friend, flowing between so many different groups. My beautiful darling Rina. You were such a great student, such a great friend, such a great madricha, youth leader.
Tensions in the Middle East have surged, and the recent violence has seen death on both sides of the region's divide. The D sisters were killed when their car was hit by Palestinian gunfire. Their mother, Lucy, was seriously injured and airlifted to hospital, where she remains in a coma.
How will I explain to Lucy what has happened to our 2 precious gifts? Maya and Rina, when she wakes up from her coma.
The girl's sibling, Karen, spoke to her elder sister, Maya, about the hole she has left.
Maya.
I'm taking now the role of the eldest child in the house. I hope I will manage to do it as good as you did, but I'm sure I'll never be able to replace you. I love you and I miss you a lot, she said. Israel's national security minister sat amongst the mourners as the girl's father condemned the terrorism that took his daughters and will force another family to carry the weight of grief for the rest of their lives. Ellie Pitt, ITV News.
A teenager who was killed in a fire in East London has been named as Tiffany Regis. The 15-year-old died from smoke inhalation in a block of flats in Beckton on Thursday. A 16-year-old boy was arrested on suspicion of murder but has since been released on bail. The mother of murdered 9-year-old Olivia Pratt-Corbell has joined calls for a change in the law that would force all criminals to attend their sentencing. It comes after gunman Thomas Cashman refused to appear in the dock while his 42-year prison sentence was read. And Conservatives have rejected the suggestion from the leader of the party in Scotland that voters could vote Labour tactically to oust the SNP. Speaking to the Sunday Telegraph, Douglas Ross said it was a case of parties doing what's best for the country. A new task force is being set up to crack down on the illegal sale of e-cigarettes to children. Despite a ban on selling them to anyone under the age of 18, figures from the NHS show tens of thousands regularly vape. Campaigners have cautiously welcomed the move, but say the money is unlikely to go far enough, as Alex Isaac reports.
E-cigarettes are seen as a safer alternative for smokers looking to quit. But with their brightly coloured packaging and range of sweet flavours, it's often children who are being tempted, which may lead to some getting addicted or worse. Ewan was 16 when he started vaping and within months had an allergic reaction and nearly died.
I spent about 7 or 8 weeks in hospital on 3 different life support machines all in all. I'm lucky to be here because I had a 20% chance to survive. I got told I'd make a full recovery, but it's been near enough 6 years now and I'm still not the same. In my lungs, the capacity isn't very well at all. I've got joint pains all the time.
According to NHS figures, the number of under 18s trying e-cigarettes are on the rise. 5 years ago, only 6% had tried vaping. By 2021, that had increased to 9%. with over half of those saying they'd bought e-cigarettes themselves from shops. Now, in an effort to crack down on illegal sales, the government is trying to put a stop to the supply with a new £3 million task force. The illicit vape enforcement squad will work with local authorities and trading standards throughout England, implementing regulatory guidelines and carrying out spot checks on businesses to reduce children's access to the devices. Campaigners have been pushing for more to be done since the sale of vapes to under 18s became illegal in 2015.
We need to protect our children, and increasing enforcement is really important. But it's not enough. It's about making these products less affordable, less available and less appealing to children.
With a commitment to be smoke-free by 2030, the government wants to ensure safer smoking options, but only for adults. Alex Isat, ITV News.
Pope Francis has prayed for the people of Ukraine in his Easter message. Tens of thousands turned out in St. Peter's Square in the Vatican City as he topped the celebration with a speech about troubled places and said Easter illuminates the darkness. Here, the Archbishop of Canterbury called for peace in his service. Callum Watkinson has more.
The embodiment of faith and service for millions of Catholics he may be, but he is also an 86-year-old man still recovering from bronchitis. And the joy many felt at his appearance in St. Peter's Square was doubtless augmented this year by relief.
In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.
A crowd of some 45,000 had gathered for the morning mass. And by the time the Pope appeared on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, there were 100,000 here, and they heard a traditional Easter message of peace.
Help
the beloved Ukrainian people on their journey towards peace, he said. And though he spoke from a chair, his voice was clear, asking God to shed the light of Easter upon the people of Russia too. 1,000 miles away in Canterbury Cathedral, the leader of the world's Anglicans spoke also of Ukraine and other conflicts and the power of good ultimately to triumph over evil.
Cruel and oppressive rulers might look as though they only get stronger, yet they will vanish. We know that those who oppress and subjugate others will face divine justice.
And as violence flares again in the land where this faith was born, these messages of peace rang as loud today as they ever have. Callum Watkinson, ITV News.
King Charles and other senior royals have attended their first Easter Sunday service at Windsor Castle since the death of the Queen. The King, Queen Consort, the Prince and Princess of Wales and their 3 children joined other members of the family at St George's Chapel. Finally, Liverpool have dealt a blow to Arsenal's bid to win the Premier League title. At one point, the league leaders looked to be cruising with a 2-goal lead, but a late Roberto Firmino goal capped off a fight back to earn Liverpool the draw. Chris Scudder was watching.
This was the acid test for Arsenal. They had a terrible record at Anfield, but the Liverpool of recent years have gone missing this season, and it took the Gunners only 8 minutes to ease their nerves. A crucial opening goal from Martinelli.
Martinelli, and it's rolled into the net. It's a goal for Arsenal.
And on a ground where they hadn't won in more than a decade, Arsenal were in dreamland with a second from Gabriel Jesus.
Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus in the middle. Unmarked. And you pay a price for that. It's 2-0 Arsenal.
Liverpool were in some disarray, but got a crucial goal back before half-time from Mo Salah. Game on.
And a Salah!
Then high drama, penalty to Liverpool, and a mighty let-off for Arsenal when Salah made a mess of it in front of the Kop.
Well.
But if that was a stroke of luck for Arsenal, it didn't last, and Bobby Firmino's equaliser turned a crucial 3-point haul into only 1. And that could cost them, with Man City chasing hard in second place. Chris Scudder, ITV News.
That's it for now. The weather is next. I'll be back just after 10:15. Until then, enjoy the rest of your Easter. Goodbye.